2026. We've officially reached the halfway point. In terms of the 20s, I'd say this is a pretty solid year so far. Great for EDM, but also in terms of ads that have found their way into my playlists this year. In fact, this was one of the hardest top 10 lists I've had to make for a ranking. So, as determined by the lovely YouTube community poll, it's time to go through said list. I'm still getting used to making videos with my voice, so apologies if stuff still sounds weird. But yeah, my name is Xylacious, and here are my picks for the top 10 best songs of 2026 so far. One of the things I've decided to do this year is really break down why I like music. Yes, I know it can sound a bit cliche, but when you really look into it, there's a lot of subtleties that make it truly an amazing art form. You'll see throughout this list, but a lot of songs here tend to be more on the delicate side of things. And sometimes said delicateness tends to touch the strings in a beautiful way, but sometimes it can be tragic.
I don't know how we got here. I think we might be sleeping. I think we might be walking to the death of love.
James Blake is an artist I only really discovered this year. I had heard his name before, but I never fully decided to dive into his music until now. And boy, what a treat it's been. While the album is still one of my favorites of the entire year, it was the first single, Death of Love, that really had me hooked. At its core, this song is about a relationship slowly unraveling itself to a point of no return. It feels more like the love slowly slipping away, piece by piece, until both people are left standing in the remains of something that used to feel alive. Minimal drums and darker tones help paint an atmosphere that fits perfectly with Blake's vocals. Then you add in the looming choir during the off drops, and suddenly the whole track feels like it's pulling you further and further into the cold, emotional space. There's a good chance you'll fall into it and never really escape again. It almost gives a funeral-like quality, but it never feels overdone. It's just heavy in its James Blake way. It's cold, restrained, and haunting. And as my first real introduction to James Blake this year, it was the exact kind of song to die for. Not just have I broken down why I like music this year, but also reflected on my journey. I started getting into the scene around end of 2021, and it's safe to say my tastes have changed wildly since then. Artists have come and gone, entire genres, styles, vibes, you name it, and that's the joy of it. You can look back on yourself and see growth happening in real time, but sometimes you'll find an artist that you just keep coming back to. The artist that tends to stick in their lane. 8 to be exact. Right off the tails of his 2024 album, Childish, 2 weeks ago Lane 8 would drop his sequel album, Cross Pollination 2, a collection of chill house collaborations blooming with life and soul, just like a flower. And while both Disappear with Sultan Shepherd and World Is Mine with Casbo were easy contenders for this list, it was ultimately Penguin Parade that I decided to choose. At a little over 6 minutes, the track feels warm and cozy, with that light synth lead, a wobble that fills the middle, and the lightest of drums you'll ever hear. Almost sounds like a deadmau5 track. An artist that those who know me knows an artist I hold very dear. It's an experience. First time I heard the track, it felt like I was in a garden, looking up at massive flowers who gazed back down upon and just smiled at me. Cross Pollination 2 continues to grow on me, and with how everything looks out, those penguins might be parading again with me all the way to the end of the year. We can't tell if this is all he has or more, but believe me, whatever he has in store, you best believe I'll be there with him. Before I got into EDM, I was into rock, specifically the more classic rock, dad rock, skipping out on those artists in the genre that began to emerge around the late 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. However, In an effort to expand my palette, a certain band had dropped an album that I'd been told might be their best yet this year. Well, with nothing but expectations, what better to do than climb? Ah yes, Gorillaz. Where do I even begin? Maybe with The Mountain, an Indian-flavored, almost alternative psychedelic album that features one of the most stacked lists of collaborators I've ever seen. Add on a hand-drawn music video to coincide with the album. Add on some of the cleanest instrumentation I've ever heard. And I had to choose one song? It had to be Mooncave. This song can best be described as a journey. Overcome with grief over the death of a loved one, in his case his father, Albarn begins his journey up the mountain to the Mooncave, a place of life and death, where he hides his feelings, thoughts, and memories. He spends his time here reflecting on his life, wondering how he's ended up where he has. It's a vulnerability, stripping the ego away from yourself and accepting it. It's beautiful. The whole song is. Even up to the breakdown part with Black Thought.
Yo, I go like a butterfly, give me any. I'ma let it slide, bet you I'ma like I'm in the sky. Look at how I wanna let the ideas just.
Overall, there's a loose, psychedelic, washed-out, spiritual atmosphere to it. But it still feels very Gorillaz. It's layered, but just enough that it can feel controlled. Even if you don't catch every lyric or every reference, the atmosphere tells you everything that you need to know. Dare I say, fitting the name of the album, it's peak. But if we're talking about artists I learned this year that dropped potentially the best project in their discography, I suppose we can't hesitate any longer. Let's address the musical theater-shaped elephant in the room. During the Grammys last year, an artist had been going around the grapevine in terms of Best New Artist. Ray. Head off the heels of Where Is My Husband, there was much hype when an album, This Music May Contain Hope, decided to be announced, and I was skeptical. While said track was good, yet didn't excite me, and the other single, Nightingale Lane, felt a bit too slow for my liking. It was ultimately this track, Click Clack Symphony with Hans Zimmer, that got me out of the house and dancing in the rain.
I need a pep talk, I need a hug, I need a dance floor. I've got one little life, I need to get out the house more and really start living it.
You can just hear the freedom in this, but like, the sort of freedom that you need to get beaten out of you, through your friend helping you get out said house, stepping back into a world even when you didn't feel fully ready to. Packed by Ray's vocal delivery, and of course, the cinematic orchestration feeling straight out of a movie. I just need to comment on that. This is Hans Zimmer we're talking about.
She'll be alright. No riding shining armored knight. She will save herself this time. And in fact,
The symphony that clicked for me. A real gem. A real beacon of hope that I just about needed right now. It's one thing to enjoy all of the music, but to me, part of the fun is even finding the songs. Whether you dig through editorials, get recommendations from friends, listening parties, or finding similar artists from those you already love. This year I've gone all in. Do I like an album? Then you best believe I'm listening to every single You May Like album that I can find. But sometimes it's not those recommendations. It's the recommendations.
Every day I face the problem in a cool world with the monsters.
Enter Jordan Rakai, soul, jazz, hip-hop, and electronic musician, whom I found through another artist, Tom Mitch, whom I found through Hone, whom I found through... You get the idea. Pipeline runs deep. But when you find stuff like this, I do it every time.
There's voices that never die, with nothing left to say.
Every song on this EP could have been a contender for this list, but I ended up choosing the third pre-single and final track off this EP, Monsters. I have a bit of a buzzword when it comes to music that I use. Organic. Feeling straight from the earth. And it's this. Horns, the silk smooth production that feels like I'm at a jazz club, and the vocals that just weave their way through the production. You can tell they were having fun just jamming in the studio. It's another track that's 6 minutes, but you just feel it, and then it's over. Like it goes and goes and goes. And then you just sit with it and breathe. I just can't stress to you enough how much this song blew me away on first listen. I thought the other songs blew me away, but then this came on? Damn. If you like what you see, definitely go check out this EP. It's all this and then some. Rakai really is that guy. Here's a fun fact about the last song I forgot to mention. It was recorded at Abbey Road Studios. Can't you believe that? Anyways, you'll need to forgive me, but I don't really know the Beatles that well. They're an artist I'm planning to dive in the second half of this year, and I've been putting it over because I don't really know where to start. I do, however, think I might have found an answer, and it's just been lying there right in front of me.
As you lie across the bed, on my left side of your head, as you lie there, as you lie there.
At 84 years old, the man Paul McCartney still got it, able to pump out another album, The Boys of Dungeon Lane, with so many fun rock tunes that remind me so much of my past. Walking down the street before I even knew a single EDM song. At this point, he doesn't really have anything left to prove, so when he releases new music this late into his career, it becomes much more special, intimate really. It's what he chooses to look back on, what matters to him, and how he decides to frame it after all this time. But the one that I liked the most was the first track, As You Lie There.
I like to fantasize on something in your eyes, 'cause that would mean the world to me.
It's reaching back towards childhood, old crushes, and early feelings. An old drawer you didn't realize you still had something inside, as she lies there, as the memory becomes more and more polished as it goes on, one to another. Have you existed in the minds of others, just like they've existed in yours? People that you've always wanted to talk to, but never did, so they just fall into a crowd. Become one of many. It's curious, playful, and just a really good track. He didn't have to hook as hard as he did, but by gone it makes for a really good intro to a really good album. I might be a couple decades late to the McCartney fan train, but I think you guys have room for one more, right? I can safely say that I like all genres. Many will be quick to say that without backing it up. But over this year and most of last, I've found some pretty insane stuff in all genres. Yet, I got in a trance. There was this emerging pop-punk art rock stuff from the likes of Black Country New Road, Squid, and The Last Dinner Party. But at the tip of it was one artist, who unfortunately split up in August of 2024, but came back, sort of.
I'm packing a bag and leaving tonight while everyone's sleeping. Now and again I'll think of you, now and again will you dream of me too?
The artist I'm talking about is Black Midi, which, while one member would go on to release under their full name Jordy Griep, dropping The New Sound in 2024, its other member, Cameron Picton, went on to drop a new band with a new album, My New Band Believe, which moves away from the alt-rock style in favor of acoustic, folk, and chamber pop with a tinge of Baroque. And it's at the helm of that is my favorite track, In the Blink of an Eye.
Who can you turn to, who can you run to, who can you open up to? when there's nowhere to go and nobody sees, not even daylight.
The more you dig into it, the more it feels tense. Themes of escape, paranoia, like you're being followed by something that you can't put a name to. It's weird, it's a bit Celtic, and yet I absolutely love it. It's because despite all of the weirdness, it still feels gentle. With the chamber pop production in a way to make it slightly off-center enough to keep you hooked back in. 1 second you're moving forward, the next you're watched, trapped, or stuck inside your own head. It's strange, but oddly satisfying.
Don't scream, don't cry.
I'm gonna be honest, I still don't know what to think of this album. Despite coming out in April, something about it makes me keep returning to it. In one blink, it's not in the top spot. In another, it's album of the year. It's in a weird limbo state for me right now. But all it took is that one blink to get me to love this song. I want you to imagine something for a second. You're sitting in a classroom, listening to an artist's entire discography looped, waiting for that song to drop. The song finally comes out, you listen to it in class, and you love it. So you naturally want more, and then wait some more, and they're gone. It's their last song. Now, flash forward to a random Tuesday when you're waiting till midnight to see what music drops, and oh my god, they're back.
Going off the map. Going off the map. Is anything
I can't begin to express how happy I am to see a new Bill Wirtz song, a brand new one, just randomly come out 3.5 years later. And I'd been lucky enough to see the post he had made beforehand, so quite literally this was out of the blue. And yes, this is the only channel you'll see that talks about Paul McCartney, Gorillaz, and Bill Wirtz in one video. Welcome to the channel.
down on the land with a plan I can.
So despite my personal experience, is this song good? I mean, you can tell by my placement what my thoughts are. It's amazing. It's got that signature Wirtz charm to it, with all the off-the-wall production, fun little melodies that tickle your ears. And while you might think the absurdist, strange humor would turn off the song into nothing more than a joke, that production is a lot tighter than you'd think.
Seem to be the whole way through.
You're going on a journey, which seems to be a theme here. Going somewhere where you don't even know, on a path somewhere that might not even exist yet. Drifting along wherever life takes you, you don't need to know where it goes. It might be a bit goofy, but it's emotional, at least to me. And we waited, and he delivered. One song or a new era, he really is just a piece of garbage. If you know, you know. Not just do you get to see your own tastes grow through music, but also the artists. Whether you start finding them, you'll check in with every release and walk a metaphorical path with them. Sometimes the artist drops banger after banger. Sometimes they'll leave for a couple years and come back with something new. Or their music just gets complacent, and while still good, loses its luster over time. For the latter case, it's the worst because you might still like their music, but feel like it's missing something. You feel me? Sometimes you just gotta get your hands dirty. For those of you not in the know, Gravitz is my favorite artist. His mix of rock and electronic, otherwise known as rocktronic, as well as his stellar vocal performances just have stuck with me over time. Which he proved in 2022 isn't real, by the way. Before rocktronic, he did dubstep. And now, after a few years, dubstep is finally back. You don't need me to tell you the production is solid. The vocals work well, and it feels like such a natural evolution of the stuff he's been doing before. It's sharp, grimy, bass-heavy all around. Gravitz described the track as part of reconnecting with the bass music that first inspired him about a decade ago, saying that sound made him drop everything to chase it. Plus, it made me love heavy music again. Around a couple years ago, I noticed my tastes shift a bit, to really move away from the electronic moniker EDM has. Am I really a fan anymore? Or have I left it in favor of other genres? Well, it seems not. All the artists like Gravitz show me that genre's still got it. We still don't know when an album will be coming out, but since we've had 3 singles already, counting this one, it's safe to say it'll hopefully be here soon, and then I'll be getting my hands on this song for the foreseeable future. Before we get to number 1, here are your obligatory honorable mentions. These are songs that are still really good, but just missed out in the top 10. Some of these would probably make my top list in 6 months, but just need more time. Really fun house tune that's getting me excited for their album coming up, hopefully. Very minimal and to the song's benefit.
Once upon a time, will you drive me when I need
A favorite artist of mine getting ready to drop another probably amazing album off the tails of last year's Vanisher, Horizon Scraper. He just has the sauce. Hip-hop tune with some nice beat and groove to it. Love the political undertones. I'm surprised I didn't think of this collab earlier. Son Holo's wholesome style mixed with Pazin's prod mixes quite nicely.
I like that, I like this more. Let's dance, let's hit the floor.
JVB doing what JVB does best. Not much more to say. Triplet step deep bass sound that would probably have made this list if it was given more time. So we finally made it to the top song. Number 1. My favorite of the year so far. But what could it be? What could be possibly better than the debut I've been waiting for and my favorite artist of all time? Well, in order to do that, I need to talk about my series that I started a while ago, NanoGod Lounge. Essentially, for those who don't know, it's a series I started about a month ago where I go over my favorite chiptune artists and their tracks, going through their discography, ranking their songs, overall serving as a vessel for me to talk about my favorite genre of all time. However, why now? Besides the fact I've been procrastinating this for a while, why do this series when a lot of the artists don't even make music anymore? And the songs are so old. I was willing to do other stuff instead, but I got motivated again. Motivated from this one song. Waterflame. An artist with a massive discography of songs, with stuff you've probably heard in games like Geometry Dash and Newgrounds. Well, this song probably falls in that same area. The classic style of video gaming electronic production you know and love just sticks. It feels like a throwback, whether it be that melody reminiscent of someone like Big Giant Circles, that almost mechanical production that he puts on that hasn't aged one bit, or just those little hey sounds that come around to tighten everything else in the middle up. I admit, I could sit here and say the same things over and over again, but not once this year has a song made me feel a yearning sense of nostalgia as much as Populous District. It's honestly insane that he's still making music, like, all these years later. Doesn't sound a day off from when I learned about him the first time. All this in mind, this makes Populous District my number 1 pick for best song of 2026 so far. And that'll be it for this top 10 list. Do you agree with my picks? Do you like the style of me talking about songs I love? Do you have any songs you think should be here? Let me know in the comments below. I don't know what the rest of this year will hold, but I'm pretty confident that if it keeps up, the trend this year, it might be my best explorative year yet. My name is Xylacious. Hope you've enjoyed me talking about these songs, and I'll see you in another video. Peace.